Hello friend, welcome back. In this video, I want to discuss about some of the JavaScript features like there is the ES6 features, there is a var, let and the constant. So it's used for declare some of the variables. So before we have used that var for declare some of the variables. So when this ES6 is updated, so into this ES6 features there is a let and the constant. So with this let and the constant you can also declare some of the variable. Okay, so right now I want to discuss about that things with you. What is exactly the main difference between the var, let and the constant, right? So step by step everything will be very much clear to you, friend. So now for doing this, that is our one of the folder I have created in our desktop. There is the exercise folder. So whatever the things we will do in particular that project area, I will save all that file in particular this folder area, that is exercise file, one of the folder. And after end of this course, I will share that file with you. Okay, so whatever the file will be needed, you will get all that file from to this position. I will save all that file in our this exercise folder and I will share that folder with you. So you can download this folder. So right now also we will need one of the editor. So right now I'm using the Sublime text editor. Okay. So first of all I want to create one of the folder. Here I have created one of the folder as a whatever you want. So right now I name it as a JavaScript. Okay, I just name it one of the folder as a JavaScript. So now I want to add this folder in our Sublime text editor. So that is also one of the editor that is totally free one of the software. You have to download that things from to the Google and then simply install it in your system. And after install that Sublime text editor, you will get this type of one of the pop-up box. And right now from here, if you want to create new window, you can create new window. Okay. You can create new window. So right now I want to add our project. That means this folder, that is drag and drop system. So here I just simply add our this project folder in our Sublime text editor. Okay, friend. So now I just simply open it and into the JavaScript folder area, I want to create one of the new file and I just name it. So I just click as a save as and I just name it as a variable. Okay, variable.js. Because of all right now we are working with the JavaScript, right? So that is actually our JS file, there is our extension and there is our variable. So if you have little idea about the JavaScript, so into the JavaScript if you show some of the value, then how you will visible it. So here if you want to display some of the value, like then you have to define as a var and I just take as a one of the variable and I just put that one of the value as a 10, right? So that is actually var, that is our keyword and that is our variable and that is our value, right, friend? So that is one of the JavaScript code. And when our ES6, that means when our ES6 is updated, so now you can also declare your variable that will be the let, right? So it should be just like that same concept. So here you can use the var for declare that variable, you can use that let for declare that variable. Right, friend? So that is pretty much basic things. I think you already know about it. So now I want to discuss about that things with you. What is exactly that difference between var, let and the constant, right? So right now I want to do that work. For doing this better, I want to create one of the function. So I just create one of the function. I just name it as a foo. So now I just simply create one of the functions, and also they have the another function you can display, like that is one of the arrow functions. So if you want to display the arrow function, then you have to write down as a this one, and then that is actually our arrow function style. Okay, so that is actually our arrow function. So I will do that things later. Right now I want to work for our this variable part. That means here I have created one of the function and I just name that function name as a foo. So now here I want to add one of the for loop. I just simply added one of the for loop and here into the for loop area. So right now we don't need this. I remove it and into the things position. So into the things position, I just make the things as a 0. Okay. So that means that into the var, that is one of the I, that means also one of the variable, and into this variable, I just define that variable as a 0. And then I want to do it should be as a that means this variable will be less than and it should be less than as a 4. So I just put as a 4 and then it should be automatically incremented. So I just simply added as a double plus. Right friends, so here that is our function name. Into the function area I declared one of the for loop, and into the for loop area with this var. So as I told you, if you want to declare some of the variable, you can declare it with this var, right? So with this var I declared one of the variable as a I, and I just put that variable first of all it should be as a 0, and then our this variable will be less than our 4, and then automatically it should be incremented. Because of all that is one of the loop, right? So now I want to display some of the message. So here into display, right now I am actually using that console mode, then it will be better. So I just name it as a console, and console and then log. And to the console log area, here I want to pass some of the string value as a easy learning. Okay, I just name it as a easy learning. So I just simply put the things, and here I want to do, if you, that is actually our for loop, right? So into the for loop area, and after that for loop, here I want to add another console and the log. And into the console log area, here I already take one of the variables, so that is our I variable. I just declared that things with this var, right? So now I also want to visible it in our console log area. I just simply pass our this variable, so that is our I. So what exactly it should be do? So right now I want to actually print our this foo, that means this function. So here I just simply added our function. So I just simply added that function. So now if you want to display this result, right now I just click as a save all, and now go to our project. So into the JavaScript folder, I have created our variables.js. So now I want to actually open our console. So I just make that things as a cmd, and now you have to define as a node, into the node, and then our file name. So our file name I have created as a variable.js. So now if you click as a enter, yes, you can see it's now perfectly display all that our string data, and also display our variable id. Like if you go, and now I think you can well understand about it. So you can see I just make the things as it should be started from to the 0, and then I added our less than the 4, and automatically it should be incremented. That means the 4th time it should be incremented our this console data. So that is our easy learning, right? So now you can see it's now perfectly visible. So better I make the things a little bit here. Okay, now you can see it's now perfectly display our easy learning. And also after that, so that means after that for loop, I have also used that console log I. Okay, and into the console log I area, if you match, you can see it's also visible as a 4. That means this var, so when you use that var keyword, it will be as a global. Okay, so you can see it's now totally global. Because of all, I also declare our variable outside that for loop, right? So for the reasons, when you make any variable as a globally, then you have to use that var. Okay friend, I hope you can well understand about it. So now let's check this out, our another one, there's a let. So if you want to use that let, so right now I just put that as a let, and now I want to make the things as a node. Okay, I just comment out it. So here I just simply comment out this one, and now if you click as a save all, and now if you run again, that means here I run again that node and that variable.js, you can see it's now perfectly display our all that string data. That means it's now perfectly display our all the string data with our this keyword, that is a let keyword. But right now that is our for loop, right? So into this particular this for loop area, actually it's working. But if you want to access our this one, that means the outside that for loop, then what exactly it should be do? Now I just click as a save all, and now if you run again node and the variable, yes, you can see now actually showing some of the error. It's now showing as a I is not defined. That means this I is not defined. I hope you can well understand about it. What is the difference between that var and that let? So into the let area, it will be only working with appropriate one of the function area. But when you want to make the things as a globally, then you have to use that things on here as a var. Okay friend? So now if you want to make the things with our constant, like that is actually our another one as a constant. So now I want to use that constant, our keyword. So into the constant keyword, what exactly it should be do? Like if you now click as a save all, And now I want to run it again. Click as a enter. Yes, you can see now actually it's showing our appropriate this position. And constant use for when. Constant use for when you want to make your variable value as constant. That means you cannot change that variable value. Okay, right now you can see I define as a I will be as I started with the 0, but if after that position automatically it should be incremented, right? That means when it should be incremented, our value will be increased. It should be increased as a 1, and then the 2, and then the 3. Right, friends? So when you use that constant, you cannot actually change that value. So I think you can well understand about it, what exactly the difference between both of these. So into the constant area, it should be as a fixed. That means it should be as a constant. It should be not able to increment at this value. So for the reasons you can see it's now perfectly getting this error. So it's now perfectly getting this error in our this line. It's not actually showing our this error. Because of all he getting that error in particular this line area. So when our value will be updated automatically, it should be show some of the message. But when you use that late, our this for loop function will be work, but it should be get that error after that for loop area. Okay, I show you again. Click as a save all. And now I just simply add again. You can see it's now perfectly display our this portion. That means our for loop is perfectly working. And after that for loop, this area, that means after that for loop, our this area, it should be getting that error. You can see it's now getting that error as I is not defined. That means here I added our console log as I, so it's now getting our this error. That means that's all about that range. That means when you use that as a constant, it will be only working for our this value option area. When you use that late, the late will be appropriately working a specific this for loop area. And when you make the things as a var, when you will be use that as a var, then this will be for our globally. Then it will be as a global. So now if you click as a save all and then run it again, yeah, you can see it's now perfectly working our for loop, and that is our outside that for loop that I added our variable. So that is our variable as a yi. So I value as actually the 4. So now you can see it's now perfectly visible our 4 value. So friend, I think it's very much clear to you what exactly the difference between our var, the late, and the constant. So I